What's going on, everyone? My name's Eric, and today on the channel we're going to be taking a look at this guitar here. It's a Schecter 7-string. We're going to be looking at the Floyd Rose on this guitar here. I've been getting a lot of questions regarding Floyd Rose setups and tips and just like overall maintenance and everything like that, and I made a video on a lot of those topics and like beginner Floyd Rose setup details and everything like that, and you can go check that out on my channel after you check out this. But today's video is going to be focusing on tips and tricks that I've learned throughout the years that actually make your Floyd Rose very easy to work on and actually make it hold tune so well. And of course I want to pass them on to you so then you can apply them to your guitar that has a Floyd Rose in case you are having any sort of tuning issues or stability issues on your Floyd Rose. And I'm sure these tips that you're going to see in today's video are going to help your Floyd Rose work much better than it already is. So without further ado, let's dive into the Floyd Rose. Now the first tip that I want to pass on regarding maintaining your Floyd Rose and making sure everything works on it is honestly making sure that everything is actually easily accessible and everything can actually move freely. As you can see here, there's a lot of dirt here, and as you can see, there is a lot of oxidization and corrosion on the blocks that hold the string into the Floyd Rose saddle. And now with all of the oxidization, all the dirt in here, what you want to really do is actually clean all of those different moving parts, because if you don't clean them, they may eventually seize over time. Now this is a Floyd Rose 1500 series bridge. It has the stainless steel parts on it. Just because some of these parts are stainless steel and stainless steel doesn't rust, we are not talking about the parts that are not actually stainless steel, like the saddles here, the base plate, and other parts of the Floyd Rose itself. So make sure you are cleaning those as much as you can, especially after you're playing or after you're gigging and everything like that. Every time you're taking the strings off and changing strings on your Floyd Rose guitar, give all of the parts a good wipe down. And you're going to see on screen how you can do that with some very easy tools. You don't really need much to keep your Floyd Rose clean and make sure all the parts are actually moving properly and they are not seizing up over time. Now you might have noticed that I took out every Floyd Rose saddle in the order that they were actually on the guitar from factory, and I put them down in the exact same order, and then you're going to reinstall them the exact same way. So you make sure you line them up as they should. This is the 7th string right here from the way I'm looking at it. This is the 1st string, so low B to high E, or however you're going to be tuning your guitar. You want to make sure they go back the exact same way, because every Floyd Rose saddle is numbered specifically for the certain string and the position on the bridge that it has to be in. So if we are going this far and doing a deep clean on your Floyd Rose bridge, which you all should do at some point in your guitar's lifespan, you need to take them off one by one or all at the same time as I just did, and then put them back onto the base plate of the Floyd Rose in the exact same way, just to ensure every string is sitting correctly and is going to be then intonating properly and playing its best. Now, as you can see, I just took a cloth and wiped out the back part where the saddles are sitting on the Floyd Rose. Now you want to make sure you take out all of the screws that are sitting in the base plate that hold down the saddle in the correct spot so it's fully intonated. And then you want to wipe down everything on the guitar, because dirt can get into these holes here and then they can actually seize up over time, especially if you're sweating on your guitar. Moisture and sweat can get in here and they can actually seize up the parts that are going in there, regardless if you have stainless steel adjustment pieces or not. Same thing as always, use a little bit of this 3-in-1 oil. You can get it at pretty well any sort of hardware store. Throw it into these saddles here, or you can put it right on to the adjustment screws themselves. Either way works fine, and then make sure you run the screws back and forth into every piece here, just so you avoid any sort of stripped parts or any sort of parts that are going to fail over time. This is a quick and easy fix that you can do to your Floyd Rose to make sure it works perfectly as it should over the course of your guitar's lifespan. And if you get any sort of oil anywhere on the guitar, get a rag and wipe it up. It is a very easy cleanup process as well. The next thing you want to do is run the adjustment screw into all of the inserts here that are on the base plate of the Floyd Rose bridge. This one has 3 inserts, so I'm going to do that every time for every screw, which might sound a little daunting or maybe a little bit OCD, but honestly, this is what you want to do to actually keep your Floyd Rose running properly. And I'm going to repeat that for the rest of the strings and the saddles on this guitar, and then I'll see you for the next one. You're going to notice a common theme with this video is that you're just essentially making sure everything is moving as it should, which is essentially what you want for a Floyd Rose or any sort of electric guitar that has moving parts. As you can see, we have the Floyd Rose saddle, and then we have the screw that is inserted into the block to lock the string in. Essentially what you want to do is make sure the threaded part inside of the block here is threaded properly. It's not cross-threaded or anything, and you want to make sure you have the right screw that is going in here to hold the block in, just so you can hold that string as it should. This particular saddle and screw feel pretty okay, but honestly a little bit of that 3-in-1 penetrating oil and that is going to take you so far with maintaining your Floyd Rose. You're not going to need a lot for this section here, as the entire set of threads is not going to go into the block here. So what you want to do, little bit of penetrating oil on the end of the screw here. Line it up with the block here and then just screw it in. Make sure that penetrating oil gets right into the threads here on the block. Run it back and forth a few times. If there's any sort of excess penetrating oil or 3-in-1 gear oil that is leaking out, just clean it up and you are then good to go. And then make sure you do that for the rest of the Floyd Rose saddles on your guitar. Once again, keeping in the theme with making sure everything moves, we have the Floyd Rose string blocks here. As you can see, these ones are pretty corroded from sweat and anything else that's going to get in there that should not be in there besides the string. What I'm going to do is put just a little bit of that penetrating oil into each of the blocks here, just so they move freely and they are not going to seize up or anything like that, because I have had blocks seize up on me before in the past, and on some of the guitars that I've been working on, they've came seized up or they've come in entirely broken. Because they are metal, they're not stainless steel, they're gonna rust and wear out over time. And then something you can do to make sure the block is going to move freely, take the screw or maybe an Allen wrench or something and just move the block back and forth, just like that. Then wipe away any sort of excess oil on the bridge there. And then you're going to notice that the Floyd Rose block is actually going to move freely, and that's going to prevent it from actually seizing up over time, especially if you're not cleaning your guitar and getting a bunch of sweat and anything else that should not be in this area of your Floyd Rose saddle. Keeping with the theme of making sure everything moves and everything's lubricated that needs to be lubricated, lubricate the fine tuning screws right here. What you want to do is unscrew them all the way until they're just about to fall out, or you can actually take them out of the Floyd Rose base plate here. Otherwise, put a little bit of that penetrating oil on there, and then you're just going to run that fine tuner up and down all through the base plate of the Floyd Rose. And if you are getting any sort of extra oil on the base plate or anything like that, just take a rag and clean it up real fast. Easy cleanup and easy fix to make sure your Floyd Rose fine-tuning adjustment screws are moving properly. Now, something else to keep in mind when you are adjusting all of the parts on your Floyd Rose and making sure that the parts are going to last the lifetime of the guitar or even longer, when you are adjusting the action on the guitar, the overall string height, using these adjustment posts on the Floyd Rose here, you want to make sure there is no tension on the actual Floyd Rose. And you want to do that to maintain the actual knife edge of the Floyd Rose bridge here. So that is the part right down here that I'm pointing at with the Allen key that sits against this adjustment post right here. If you are adjusting your Floyd Rose fully strung up to tension and everything like that, you are then causing the base plate of the Floyd Rose here, especially that knife edge, as well as the adjustment piece where the knife edge is resting, you're going to be causing those parts to wear out faster than they should be. But you are going to be saving yourself time and money down the road by not wearing out your Floyd Rose base plate, the knife edge, or the adjustment post here by taking the time and actually adjusting your action on the guitar when there is no tension on the Floyd Rose, just so you are saving the overall structural integrity of the Floyd Rose and the other parts that come with it. Something you want to keep in mind is the height of the fine-tuning screws here. As you can see right now, and you might have seen in the earlier part of the video, the fine-tuning screws were backed out pretty well all the way, and that's what you don't want on a Floyd Rose guitar. You want to find the sweet spot between the lowest point and the highest point on the guitar. So essentially what I like to do is kind of eyeball it, or kind of give it around 8 or 7, like just little spins like that, and get it into that mid-range sweet spot here. That is going to give you the best of both worlds in relation to adjusting the tuning, and you will still have enough room to adjust the screw up or down in relation to how out of tune the note is, and still have enough room to actually get the note in tune without maxing out the fine-tuning adjustment screw either up or down. Something else I like to do when I'm stringing up a guitar that has a Floyd Rose on it, get a piece of paper or a bunch of stacks of paper like this or some business cards, put it under the back side of the Floyd Rose right here, and try to get the Floyd Rose sitting as flush to the body as you can, and that's going to make the restringing process of your Floyd Rose way easier than it would be without having something to kind of keep the bridge level or flush in relation to the body. And the way you do that is essentially use the side of the base plate here and make sure it is as straight as possible, just as the top of the guitar would be. Now you might remember earlier on in the video I did a quick highlight and close-up of the bridge. You might have noticed that the 7th string saddle was pushed all the way back to the guitar, and this guitar did come in with some intonation issues, and based on the intonation and what had to be done to the guitar as it came in, the bridge saddle essentially had to be moved back even further, although it was essentially maxed out at the back here. And there's a few different ways that you can go about it. Now back in the day, bands like Cannibal Corpse, who tuned down like really low on standard scale guitars with Floyd Roses, they would actually grind down the backs of these Floyd Rose string saddles to actually get a bit more movement and actually shorten the overall saddle length. So then they can actually bring the saddle back further and then intonate their guitars even more. But you don't have to do that all the time if you're trying to tune low on a guitar that has a Floyd Rose bridge. There's a few different ways that you can go about that to actually make tuning low on your Floyd Rose work. This guitar also came in with a bit of a neck bow as well. That's also going to affect the overall intonation on the guitar as well. So just a quick truss rod adjustment like that. I've gone over that in a few other videos that you can check out on my channel as well. That really helped the overall intonation issues with the guitar as well. I also put some heavier strings on this guitar, and that's also going to help with intonating your guitar that has a Floyd Rose. Especially since this has a limited range of motion for the most part, just like all bridges do. You might have to bump up your string gauges depending on how low you're tuning and everything like that. I have a 74 on this guitar right now, and it's tuned to A flat G sharp with a 26.5-inch scale. Honestly, it feels great and it sounds great, and the guitar obviously is intonated perfectly as it should be. So if you are having intonation issues with your Floyd Rose, don't think you have to just start grinding down saddles and everything like that. It might just be a simple setup procedure that you have to do. I have videos that go over everything like that and simple setup procedures on my channel. So go ahead and check those videos out as well if you're running into tuning or intonation issues on your Floyd Rose guitar. And that's going to kind of do it for today's video. I wanted to make this pretty quick and also pretty as comprehensive as possible to show you all a few other tips and tricks with Floyd Rose equipped guitars that I've learned throughout my years of fixing guitars, especially with guitars with Floyd Rose bridges. And if this is your first time working on a Floyd Rose bridge, I recommend that you go check out my other video that goes over the actual basics of working on a Floyd Rose and setting up a Floyd Rose, as this video is mainly meant for a few tips and tricks to actually make your Floyd Rose last a little bit longer, and actually just overall generally dealing with your Floyd Rose, and if you're running into any sort of tuning issues or tuning stability issues on your guitar, or just general intonation issues on your guitar that is equipped with a Floyd Rose. If you learned something new in this video, let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, and if you enjoy these videos and the other things that I make sure you consider subscribing, because I have more videos like this on the channel as well as other guitar related videos. Thanks for checking this out, and I will see you next time.